This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield.
So I snapped it one day going about 120 mile an hour. That's what I do when I drive down there.
And co-host Marnie Winfield.
There's a phrase on top that says, do what you love. I'm going to put that one in my office.
Office I don't go to no more.
Not lately.
It is the 4th of November, 2021. My name is Corey Winfield.
My name is Marnie Winfield.
Welcome to the 217 Recovery Podcast. And so when I was talking about snapping, I was talking about snapping a picture.
Oh.
And then that same picture was what you were talking about, because I was coming back from Alpena. And if you were going from Alpena to Traverse City or east to west on this one road that takes you to Alpena, there's this barn. And it says, hi, and then it has like a smiley face on it. And I like leaving Alpena because of that.
Right. And the whole reason they did that is so people like us would take time out of their day to be like, aw, look at that. That's a happy moment.
Sometimes I think, should I honk?
At the barn?
Yeah, just hi. Like there's a little hi back to him.
Hey, I don't know, acknowledgement. Doesn't hurt.
But usually I'm just flying about 110 mile an hour passing people. So they'd probably be like, what are you doing?
I believe that.
Beep, beep, beep. It'd probably be like an aggressive honk because sometimes passing people can get scary.
Yeah. Well, I did the whole grab the handle this afternoon when you were peeling around a corner with road rage.
No, the problem there was a woman driving in front of me.
And you don't know that.
No, I do know because it had little kid stickers everywhere. It was a woman for sure. I could see.
And so what did this woman do wrong?
Just hanging out at a green light that only turns green for 8 seconds. And then if you don't hit the green, then you're waiting for 8 minutes.
So then you felt it was like, important
I don't know. She was just la, 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 I'm a woman in the world.
And you went from like 0 to 20.
License. Well, because she needed to step on it.
She didn't know that though. Those kind of people.
Like the 4 cars in front of her already left. Like there was I almost just went around her.
Right, but those kind of people are
not
if they are
safe on the road.
If they are doing what you're saying and they're oblivious to the world, right, and taking their time, they're not going to pay attention with your angry riding their tail.
Well, I was making us one vehicle. If I would have got stopped, I was the officer. We were one vehicle.
Oh, it scared me.
We were just one vehicle. So you can't give me a ticket. Don't ever, and I guess you shouldn't, this part of, you should understand, and please listen to this. Don't ever tell a cop what they can or can't do or what they should or shouldn't do. It doesn't work out very well.
Right.
Nico, well, I'm glad you're here. Did you want to talk about your recovery?
I hope everybody
your daddy's
heard that.
recovery? No?
That was so cute.
Yeah. I'm coming up on the anniversary of going to jail.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I found that out because, well, I mean, I always remembered. It's 30th of November is when it happened, but we were trying to get some new automobile insurance. And since we're a nonprofit, this is real funny. There's a company out of somewhere, wherever, I don't know. Hopefully we didn't pay $25 to join them, but it seems like we did something to join them. But anyway, they're supposed to offer discounts because they're all about nonprofits. Well, that was like 4 times the rate of any other insurance company that I went with. So I'm not even going to check with them again. So I checked with State Farm and they're like, oh yeah. And everything sounded good until it came back and they're like, yeah, we discriminate against people who with substance use disorders. And I was like, what? And they didn't really say that, but they said that because they're like, yeah, you had to have to wait 3 years before we can insure you with us because you were drinking and driving. I was like, well, technically, I wasn't even pulled over by the police. Now, I'm pretty sure I was driving, and it's something that saved my life, and the reason why we're talking on this podcast right now, because of the 30th of November. Nico is just making her way over here. Sorry if you hear background noise, but she's going to file some papers for us, apparently.
She is.
Yep,
she's looking for something.
Going through them. Yep. Just put those with the others. Yep. Good job. I'm telling you, my cat's so smart. But anyway, the night that happened, though, is when I told the cop, though, that you can't take me to jail. So I was like, you didn't see me driving. That dude's word against my word. Like, can't take me to jail, bro. That's what I said to him. And then the next thing I know,
right,
I'm getting handcuffs. slapped on. I'm going to jail. Which they didn't breathalyze me. He knew that I would blow so high. He had been there before. And so when he took me to jail, he knew that I would have to go to the hospital. And then when I got to the jail, they played funny, like, oh, what are you doing, man? Why are you being such a jerk? And I'm like, I'm just standing here, man. Oh, if you're going to be that way, then you get in here. And they threw me in the regular drunk tank and not the drunk tank where like people are about to have a seizure and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So they're going to teach me a lesson, which then that's why I was telling my lawyer. I'm like, well, if they're saying that my blood alcohol level was so high, how do they know? They never breathalyzed me. Right. And then why did they just throw me right in jail? They should have taken me to the hospital if my blood. So there's a lot of things, but then he just was like, look, man. And I was like, no, nothing adds up. The story doesn't add up. They said I was driving down this road and went to that road. Those roads don't even connect. I can beat this, you know? And that's when he hit me with the whole, how long you been sober? A year. Have you ever, when's the last time? That's when I told him. I was like, I don't know, 11 or 12. So it was one of those things where my lawyer just said, this possibly could save your life. Having to go a year, being on probation, you've already done your jail time and then some more jail time. So you're not doing any more jail time. So you're going to be on probation for a year. That should be incentive for you, not to drink and to just try to figure things out. You'll be sent to rehab probably. And I'm like, oh, geez. Okay. But it worked out, and I said it many times. It's those moments that we think it's the worst part, the worst ever in our life. And how am I ever going to overcome this? And then we look back years later and go, wow, like that was probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. And yeah, I had to be uncomfortable for a minute or a couple of weeks, but looking back, it saved my life. I talked about it about my little brother, and he was going to get married to this woman, and oh my God, nobody liked her. And she was just a bad person. And then it ended up not working out. And that time, it killed him. He was so crushed, but now his wife is great. Family loves her. She's just a good person. And it's like, wow, like you dodged a bullet there, bro. And he's like, yeah, I know. But in that moment though, it's like, oh, my life sucks. This is the worst thing ever. Give it time. That's the cool thing about life.
And the thing is too, is when those people tell you that, like he said, this might be what will change your life. Yeah. At those moments, you don't think that's actually real. Like it might for a second spark, but I mean, sometimes, like I know I've been in situations where they've said truths to me like that. And I'm just like, that's the last thing I want to hear right now. All your freaking golden words of wisdom and, how this is the moment and whatever. And then it ends up being that, So you're right. You have to, you never know when the miracle is going to happen. But if that wouldn't happen, then the next thing wouldn't happen, then the next thing wouldn't have happened. And, and here you are now.
Mm-hmm. And part of it, and I don't think I realized it at the time, was just accepting responsibility for my actions. Mm-hmm. And could I have beat the thing? I don't know. Like I said, their stuff just wasn't making sense. And the fact that they didn't breathalyze me, I mean, there was just so many different ways I could have been like, come on, man, give me a jury, dude. Like, we'll tear this apart. Like, you don't even have to talk. I got this. And end of the day, though, my headlight was out. And then at first I was like, man, the cops came and they bashed my headlight out just to make it look like I was driving. Like, I really thought that for a minute.
Oh, wow.
Until I could actually just go, maybe I was driving. And thank God I didn't kill anybody. Yeah. I don't know where I was going. I didn't have my wallet, didn't have my cell phone, didn't have my vape. No idea. Mm-hmm. And that's scary as hell too. It's like, I was going to drown myself one time and I don't remember any of it.
Right.
And therapist one time, he was in Grand Rapids. He was a cool dude. He was from Texas, but he was a straight shooter. I think his name's Brian, but he's like, you see the problem there, man? Like, you were going to take your own life and you don't even remember doing it. He's like, that to me is scary, and yeah, probably. Yeah, it is if you think about it. And, same thing, with maybe driving, that's just scary too. And I don't have to worry about that anymore because I don't drink. So it's awesome.
I don't know about the scary driving thing, but
I'm a great driver.
I know you are.
I'll give you a list of people you can ask and a list of people you can't ask.
Okay.
No, I I handle myself on the road pretty well.
Yeah, you do. No, you're an excellent driver.
But like I said, I was getting through that light.
No.
I hate going that way. I hate that light. I don't know why it's so quick, but I was going to let that lady bring me down. And it wasn't as bad as you seemed. I don't even think you grabbed the ship bar.
I didn't have time to.
See. No. So, yeah. How are you? What do you got going on today?
I'm good. I'm good.
How's that fantasy team doing? You picked up that one receiver from the Jets, didn't you?
No. Funny story about that.
I think he had a pretty good game.
Yeah. No, I was looking over my team, and of course, I'm playing you this week.
Oh, it's right. I totally didn't forget.
And you've known this for weeks and weeks, that you've been dreading the moment that we're going to play each other. But anyhow, so I was looking over my team, and I was looking at some different possibilities of what I might do, because I was not very happy with my wide receivers last week, or maybe the week before that.
One guy you were really unhappy with last week, Sanders.
Who
told you to play him?
What do you mean?
Like, who's
Ever?
like, oh no, play that guy.
You did.
He didn't even get a ball thrown to him.
No.
At him even.
He didn't. He got 0 points.
That's last week. We're moving on to this week. So this week, yeah.
So then I'm looking at this guy, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I think I might pick up this Elijah Moore guy. He's like, what? What did you say? And I was like, I don't know. He looks pretty good. And of course, I don't know anything about him, but I can read. And so I was debating it, and he's like, you know what, Sanders, it's what's going to happen. He's going to go back in. That was just a what do you call it?
A fluke.
A fluke. That was just a fluke. He's going to come back stronger than ever. Everybody has bad games. I'm like, no, if I was the coach, I would be like, you better figure out what's wrong with yourself.
That was the first time in his career.
I know.
He's never had a target.
And that's why you're like, that will never happen again.
It won't.
So don't worry about it. I was like, yeah, you're probably right. So I didn't pick him up. And then this freaking guy gets 2 touchdowns.
75 yards. Our league of record, 22 points.
Insane points.
So far, and it's not even over yet.
It's not even over yet.
So that's good. Yeah, and when I heard you talking about Elijah Moore, I was like, don't pick him up. Because I didn't want you to pick him up.
Because you know that he was going to do well?
I mean, he's good, but the quarterback, I don't know. There's a lot of iffy things with him, but I just didn't want you to start him, then him score 22 points. What? And
Nothing.
I can't pick him up because my players are too good. I don't have anybody to drop.
I know, but you know what? If you would have said nothing at all, then I would have picked him up. But of course, you had to say, no, don't.
This is a perfect example of what I was talking about earlier, acceptance.
No,
accepting our own actions.
Tricky. You should have just let me do what I was going to do.
You should have done it.
No,
you can't blame me for it.
You said no, not to. You're like,
I'm sure you've heard this one before, but if I was going to jump off a bridge, would you ask me if, I don't know, that didn't make sense. So I was going to go if I jumped off a bridge, would you? But that didn't make sense either. So anyway, you should make your own decisions. And then when you did make a decision of not picking him up, you got to own it.
I ain't owning that. A little piece of it, I will.
Because you didn't click add. And you know what? Maybe all your other guys are going to get 30 points each.
But watch, if I would have picked him up, nothing would have happened. So
you pick him up, and then next week you'll play him, and he'll get 0.
Right.
I don't know. I'm talking fantasy football. Thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah,
and ladies.
No, but other than that,
day's
been okay. Not really a whole. I did a lot of work this morning and this afternoon that seeped into the evening, as it does usually. But it's okay. Oh, our sink got fixed.
Okay.
That was exciting.
I don't want to hear about that.
Well, no, it's the little things that they probably would have put a bowl underneath it and then just left it for forever back when I was using.
Well, probably. Yeah. Taking care of some of the things around the house, is something that normally we wouldn't have done in our active addiction. So if you go to your buddy's house, cousin, whatever, friend's house, and you just look around and go, man, this place is getting out of control. And there's no reason they're not picking up anything, and their trash is overflowing. Pretty good chance that they might be drinking. I know that's one sign of drinking. Another sign, though, and it's the opposite. When people are on other drugs, they will scrape and clean and all night long. And you're like, whoa,
odd hours.
That's a little weird too.
Yeah.
You know, so there's different telltale signs of when some bad stuff's going on. But no, I want to talk about something, and it's something that has been a long time coming. And first of all, it's kind of sad. My father is in Michigan, and we've been texting and stuff and talking lately. And so he was going to make a trip here. Was it August? I don't know. He was going to come, but then he didn't. And they said, yeah, we're going to come in the fall. So they were already planning this trip to come here. And then my stepbrother passed away, my stepbrother Claude. So now, you know, they're there for the memorial, and that's going to be on Saturday morning. So we're going to go to that, and you're going to get to meet my father.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Corey, I'm your father.
That's what he talks like.
No, he doesn't. I talked to him.
Where's a mask? You talked to him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, in the car that day, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting. I said on the podcast last week that I was driving, and all these emotions came over me, and I'm like, oh no, like I might cry. But I don't know. I guess if we're going to go to a funeral, then it'll look natural probably. And
oh my gosh.
I just feel, I don't know. I mean, my stepbrother Claude, I really liked him. And it's those moments you're like, man, if I just would have called him a couple more times, or not that I, you know, could have prevented his heart attack or anything, but like just to say what's up and just let him know that I appreciated him, and, you know, that I looked up to him. And even when we did hook up, when I moved back in 2015 or whatever, I think it was 2016. It was in 2016 is when we hooked up. I mean, we weren't doing things that were good for us, but we still had a good time, and I kind of needed somebody, and he came over and hung out with me. So I really did appreciate that. And yeah, it's just one of those things. So if there's somebody you haven't talked to in a long time, and you really care for them or really appreciate them, you know, just reach out, send a text even, you know, old school it, mail them a card.
Yeah.
But just so you don't have those, damn, if I just would have had one more chance, you know, God doesn't wait.
Yeah.
Oh, Corey wants one more chance. Let me hold off on this. No, it doesn't happen like that.
Right. And I mean, I'm excited to meet your dad. I think it's going to be great. And I know you're worried about emotions for those, but I always say, if you don't cry, then I'd be worried, because it's an emotional thing, you know, and it's happy tears.
Yeah.
Like, how amazing is this? And you know how we say 2 years ago, what do you think you'd be? And then fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Did you think you'd be going to hang out with your dad, with your wife?
No, hell no. Honestly,
you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of, so think of all the blessings. I think it's a good side of things.
Yeah, I posted a picture on my Facebook today. It's from like 2 years ago, and I was like, man, I had no idea the good stuff that was coming. You know, I knew I was putting in the work, and I was doing what I needed to do, and it was paying off. I just couldn't see it at the time. You know, and now you look back and you go, wow, I've done a lot, and just coming up on 3 years sobriety, and wow, like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, just a little bit at a time, you know.
I'm trying to think of when it was when we met.
It'd have been late September.
Yeah.
2019.
Late September.
You saw me, what'd you think? Damn, boy.
No.
That poor guy, look at him.
No, I was not. I was very focused on getting myself better. So that's what I was thinking. I was thinking he's a very kind and funny guy and extremely good looking. I could go on, but we'll just leave it at that.
I thought you were like all the alternative lifestyle. I was like, oh. Okay. But in my position, though, I mean, I wasn't like, oh, let's hook up. You know, I was just like trying to help people, you know, and I want to see everybody do good. And I want everybody to just free themselves from their addiction and from their mental stress that they put on themselves, because I know I put mental stress on myself all the time and beat myself up, and just I was never good enough for my own liking, I guess you could say, and that's not even a reality, you know? Mm-hmm. And positive thinking, positive thoughts, listen to positive music even.
Yeah.
And just find a place where you need to go mentally to move forward, and don't keep dwelling on the past. You know, if you can move forward with a plan, you know, some goals, whether it be go to school, whether it be go back to rehab, I mean, something positive. And for me, you know, working in the industry, I wanted to obviously start 217 Recovery. We started the podcast, and then it was like, okay, let's do this transportation thing because people need rides to treatment, safe rides. And so I knew that there was that, and then the treatment thing just kind of fell into place. And I realized pretty quickly that I don't really want to work at a treatment center either, you know, like not full time. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't mind. And this is something that we should be doing anyway. And I've been wanting to go to the jail here in Traverse City and do an AA meeting. But the thing with that, though, is I'd have to commit to it. And I don't know if I can yet, you know, like I'm pretty busy.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, do I really want to stretch myself thin like that? And I don't think now is the time. Mm-hmm. But I would like to in the future, or, you know, just go to a treatment center. Maybe I do it once a month. Maybe I do it once every 2 weeks, or, you know, maybe Justin and I, and then you, well, you can't really do anything now because your back's jacked. But like, I don't know, just set up some kind of rotation to where, you know, we can go in and just talk to those people, and not as like, hey, we're going to teach you something, but just talk to them, you know, as a peer, like, hey man, I was exactly where you are right now.
Yeah.
These are the things I did.
Yeah.
These are the situations I faced. Here's what I learned about myself. Here's what didn't work for me, you know, to explain to them. And maybe one person will be like, wow, okay. And maybe it's not that time. Maybe they get out of rehab or wherever, in jail, and they relapse, and then they go back, and then they relapse and go. And maybe it's 4 times from now where it finally kicks in. They're like, man, someone told me one time, man, that I should just not do any drugs. let me give that one a try. And maybe they do, who knows? But I know people told me a lot of good stuff that I just in one ear and out the other. And then later on, I'd be like, yeah, wait a minute. And I don't remember sometimes who told it to me, but
right,
it was in there.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is if you say like 2 years ago, I mean, 2 years ago now, I mean, I was the sponge, you know, I was like, tell me, you know, your experience, strength, and hope. You know, I want to hear how you did it. Like, I needed to hear words of wisdom. I needed guidance. I needed to know about the tools that everybody talked about. You know, I needed to do that searching and fearless moral inventory, you know, and it's an ongoing thing. But here we are, you know, trying to help other people listening on what we've learned just in that small amount of time, just that short period of time, how much we've grown and how much strength that you can get, that you can have with just 2 years. And I'm not saying like I always need to put this disclaimer in. There's no 100% chance that, you know, recovery is forever. You can't say that. Mm-hmm. But I can say that I feel 1,000 times different than I did 2 years ago. So, and even you, I mean, even having a year, right? 2 years ago, the experience, the strength and hope that you shared to others.
Yeah.
What you share now is, I'm sure you're tons more confident and extremely more knowledgeable, and, you know, have more input on the things that work and the things that don't, because we've had more time to reflect on that.
Mm-hmm. We've had more opportunities, you know, we could have drank today. Mm-hmm. We didn't. That lady could have made me drink. Maybe in the past she would have, you know, get through the effing light.
Yeah. But
you just have to take each day as it comes. And like I said, just add them up and just keep doing good stuff. And man, in a year, you'll look back and go, holy cow. But it's so detrimental, though, in that early recovery, in that early stage, that, you know, you surround yourself with the right people, that you don't just talk about it, but you do it. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody talks about a good plan. Oh, I'm going to do this, do this, do this. They do it for a week, do it maybe for 2. And they start falling off. And it's, no, you talked about it. Let's do it. You know, you're only fooling yourself. Mm-hmm. You know, if you really want to do it, write it down and figure it out. Do it. Make it happen.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do. Find your purpose. You know, that's something that's huge too. Maybe it's babysitting for a sister or whatever, man. You know, like taking your nephew to to school every morning to help your sister out or whatever. You know, like if you can do something little like that might be on your way to work anyway. You know, it gives you time with your family. You help people out, or there's so many different ways to find your purpose. And obviously, I take my sister's kid to school. There's my purpose in life. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like helping others will help you discover your purpose and you start feeling good.
Yeah.
You know, and then you realize a couple years later when your nephew's like, you know, I really loved when you took me to school. That was my favorite school year and I'll always remember that. And one day when you're wearing old people pants and he comes over and helps you out. It's like, yeah, you're my favorite. I'll always love you, uncle or aunt, whatever. Yeah, it's moments like that.
Makes it worth it.
Create those memories, you know?
For sure.
That's what life's about. So anyway, we're going to be doing the podcast from the road. I was going to have my friend on, but it didn't work out.
Okay.
Trevor. He's lives in Florida now. He's got a video, from the early days when we first started out. It's on our YouTube channel, but yeah, he's been having a tough go of it, man. And I really wanted to kind of have him on to just go, look, man, like let's talk, you know, and we just couldn't get together. And of course we're not going to be around to do it this weekend and he's only here for a few more days. So, but I'll have him on over the phone or we'll do there you go. The video chat one day with him because I think it's important that people don't just hear, oh, Corey and Marnie are doing great. Whoop-de-doo. You know, like the people. And not that I want to focus on people that are struggling, but just to show people like, look, and I don't give up on people. You know, when Anna had her relapse, she could be using right now. I don't care. You know, as long as she's honest with it in her blogs.
Yeah.
You know, if she's saying, look, I'm struggling, but if she's putting on there, oh, I'm still sober for 3 weeks and she's drinking it while she's writing it, I would have a problem with that.
Right.
But as long as she's honest about it, and as far as I know she is, I support her. I know how hard it is. It's tough, you know, and I think the support that we show for, I don't talk to Anna as much as I used to. I haven't talked to her in a long time, matter of fact, but I think that she would appreciate it, you know, to know. And I don't know if she knows I have her back, but I do. And I don't judge her. There's no time for that. But just as long as you're honest, you know, and I think that those are situations where it'll actually help those people out that they know that they can get stuff off their chest that they have been hiding, you know, like if Trevor comes on here and he's just like, oh man, look, boom. And he'd be honest. And I think that would help free him a little bit up too, you know, and I don't know. He'll be on though soon. That's my point of all that. I just like
no, it's good. Sometimes. I think it's great to hear from other people and wherever they are in their recovery journey.
So, I want to do a shout out since it's Thursday. To Break and Alignment Plus. Went there today, get the oil changed. And the main vehicle that we use to take people to and from treatment because we put miles on it. And Mike, the manager, came out and he was like, hey, you know, Mike, and I think you're the person I was emailing with. And I was like, yeah, I'm Corey. And, you know, we talked and just said that he ran it up to the owner or whatever. And, it, you know, just about what we do. And they were like, man, that's great, you know, and hook those people up with whatever we can, you know, whatever we can do for them, you know, let them know that we support them. And I thought that was really awesome. And Mike and I, we sat there and we talked for about 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes or so. And he was telling me about his experience in the military. And he said that, you know, he was one of the lucky ones that, you know, he came back and he started drinking like a lot of people do. And he was able to catch himself, but he had a lot of buddies that couldn't. they just couldn't handle it. And, there was a lot of suicide happening with soldiers coming back home, and there still are, there still is. And, then, that mental illness, and then you add drinking on top of it, it's not good, man.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with some PTSD, and it's just, the drinking, you think it helps at first because, oh man, it helps me forget and I don't feel it. But then it just starts wearing you down big time, and, bad things happen. And, if you know anybody who is struggling like that, ask them if you can help them, and, ask them if they're thinking about suicide straight up, and might be surprised, but don't let it catch you off guard, and don't think that they're bad people. They're hurting and they just want to escape. And sometimes it gets so much that they choose the ultimate, which, at the time when they're thinking that, that's how bad it is.
And sometimes there's people that they're just waiting, hoping, praying that somebody's going to ask them if they need help. And nobody does.
Yeah, and you might not know how to help them.
Right. And you don't have to have the answer.
No,
Nobody's expecting you to save them. But
there's websites out there. There's people you can connect them to. And, you can maybe get them on that journey.
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised, and we learned in the class that we took about suicide is if you flat up ask somebody, if you see them doing some weird stuff and they're like, hey, if you don't see me, make sure to come feed my cat. And you're like, wait, where are you going? Well, just if you think about suicide. And, from what we learned, it'll be pretty easy to tell. Right. Either they're going to, dude, no, man. I'm going on a trip with this girl I met on littlepeopledate.com. And I'll be like, what? Probably not thinking about it. But they'll say yeah most of the time. So if they really are.
Or they'll get uncomfortable.
Yeah, but if they dismiss it or try to, what are you talking? Like, it'll be real quick. That's what we was told.
Yep, that's what our trainings.
Yeah, and it does make
Everybody's
sense.
different, but yeah, I mean, just if anything, being vocal and direct about that you care about somebody and that you're concerned. If somebody's not acting themselves, you can say so. You can say something. I mean, what would happen if you didn't say something and then next thing you find out that person took their own life? And you had that thought crossed your mind, maybe I should see if they're actually really okay. Yeah. It's a hard thing.
That's why I took those courses. Because, and not saying that would never happen, and that just because I took those courses that I know everything and I know what I'm doing, because I don't. But just to be armed with a little bit of knowledge and just a little bit of the basic skills, I think goes a long way.
Yeah.
And our friends at Kirsten's Ride, they still do those trainings. So look her up, Kirsten's Ride. You can look them up on Facebook, or they have their own website, but they have the list of when they do those trainings. And of course, that's Northern Michigan. So if you're in Northern Michigan, you can do that. If you're in Southwest Michigan or Indiana or Illinois or Hawaii or Iowa or Oregon or Virginia.
The curriculum they followed, I believe, was ASSIST.
Yeah.
ASIST was the name of the training program.
So look it up. And good luck. But not good luck to you in fantasy football, Marnie.
I know. No good luck to you either.
You're supposed to be by 11 points, so we'll see.
No, my whole mentality is that it doesn't matter who wins because we're both winners then, in my head.
Okay.
Because if you win, I win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Then,
like in my head.
Don't start your
of being good.
All right. Thanks again for listening. Have a great night. Again, big shout out to Breaking Alignment Plus. You want to shout out to?
Shout out to Lisa. Shout out to Sharon, Rebecca, Janelle, Rachel, and Kim.
And Shannon. All right. Have a good one. See ya.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the 217 Recovery Podcast. Listen on the 217 Recovery app. Download the app and rate us in your app store.